Hi everyone, Alpena from Bulgarian Mama is Cooking here, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make cruffins with a healthy twist at your very own home. So if you're interested, keep on watching. This is a very beautiful, crunchy on the outside and puffy on the inside dessert. And before we go further with this video, if you are interested in such recipes, support the mama by hitting the subscribe button. You will absolutely love my recipes, I promise you. And let's get into it. So first I'm going to start by proofing the yeast. I have this warm almond milk right here. I'm combining it with the yeast and I'm going to leave it on the side in a warm spot for 15 minutes. I'm going to add salt to my flour and I'm going to mix it well to combine. So if you have a stand mixer, I definitely recommend that you use it for this recipe. If you don't, that's okay. You can still do it by hand. It's just going to take you a little longer. Now in my stand mixing bowl, I'm going to combine the already proofed yeast and the applesauce and the olive oil that I use instead of butter. I'm also adding some honey. You can definitely go for agave syrup or maple syrup. And then the next step is to sift the flour with the salt. So usually cruffins are made with puff pastry dough. However, for this recipe, I'm not gonna make puff pastry dough. Instead, I'm making sweet yeast dough that did the job. It's not the same, but it's way easier and faster. And it does not contain any butter. Now I'm starting to knead my dough on my mixer. I'm first gonna start very slowly and then I'm gonna gradually increase the speed. So here throughout this process you may need to add a little bit more flour if your batter is really runny. However, this might not be necessary, but if it's necessary, be sure to have some that is already sifted and you are ready to add it to the batter. And do not worry if it's taking a very long time to put together. This dough needs a little bit more time just because it does not contain any dairy or any butter. So it takes about 15 minutes at the mixer, and if you do it on hand, it's probably gonna take a little longer. So as soon as you can easily remove the dough from the hood, that means it's ready. So the dough needs to rest and I'm preparing a bowl and I'm gonna lightly oil it with some baking spray, and here I'm gonna show you how the dough looks like. It's very elastic, super stretchy and very soft. This is what you're looking for. I mean, look at it, it's perfect. I'm taking out the air by pulling the ends towards the middle of the dough, and this way I'm gonna form a little ball. And then I'm gonna move the dough to my already lightly oiled bowl and I'm gonna cover it with saran wrap and some kitchen towel. Now it is important that the dough is covered, otherwise it's gonna dry out and this is not the result you're looking for. Another very important thing for the dough to rise properly is the room temperature. Now you need a warm place. If your kitchen is not warm enough, then move this bowl to the oven and just turn the light on. This is going to ensure that the temperature is good enough for the dough to rise. So this needs to be double in size and this can take up to an hour, so don't worry if it's taking a little longer. Just give the dough time to rise properly on its own. And then as soon as it's double in size, take it out and let's go ahead and divide it. Now keep in mind that this dough is definitely going to be sticky, so have a little bit of flour right beside you so that you can use it to lightly flour the dough and the surface that you're going to be kneading the dough on, just because you don't want it to be sticking all the time, but make sure that you're using just a little tiny bit. Now as you can see here, I'm going to give it a quick knead and then I'm going to go ahead and divide it evenly on 6 parts. So here I definitely recommend that you use a kitchen scale. If you don't have a kitchen scale, that's okay, you can still do it on eye, but your cruffins are most likely not gonna be all the same, but that's okay. I mean, as long as they're delicious, right? Now I have 6 equal parts that I'm gonna turn into balls and I'm gonna leave them on the side to rise. I am gonna give them a quick knead by keeping a constant contact between the dough, the surface and my hands. And this way I'm also taking the air out of the dough. Use a little tiny bit of flour if you need to, because like I said already, this dough is definitely going to be sticky. So lightly flour the surface and your dough in order to be easier for you to form it in a little small ball. So as soon as they're ready, I'm gonna cover them with saran wrap and a kitchen towel. Now it is warm in my kitchen, so I'm just gonna leave them where they are. However, if in your kitchen is not warm enough, then move them to a tray and put them back in the oven with the light on. Again, let them rest for another 30 minutes or until doubled in size. So I absolutely recommend that you do some type of filling for this cruffins, and there are many options that you can do. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do for my cruffins. I'm going to use 3 different fillings. The first one is going to be this really delicious and very aromatic date paste with cinnamon or cinnamon paste. I'm also adding a little tiny bit of cardamom, but be careful with using this spice because the cardamom is very heavy and it will quickly dominate over the rest of the spice. And then another important part is your muffin tray. Now, I usually use paper liners for all types of muffins that I do. However, I don't believe that the paper liners will work best here. I'm afraid they may stick, so that's why I'm creating my own liners from this foil. It will take you 2-3 minutes longer, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. I also put some baking spray just to make sure that they don't stick, because this is a lot of work that I did, so I want to make sure that they turn out right. So the dough is ready and I'm ready to start making my cruffins. As you can see, it's really puffy, it's absolutely gorgeous, and definitely make sure that you have a lot of olive oil by your side with a silicone brush or a pastry brush, whatever you have. If you don't have that, you can use your hands, but definitely need some type of oil, and I definitely recommend that you use olive oil. So I'm gonna lightly flour the surface and the dough, and then I'm grabbing my rolling pin and I'm gonna start rolling out the dough. Now this dough is gonna be about 24 centimeters long and about 10 centimeters wide, and make sure that it does not have any holes. And as soon as I'm done rolling it out, I'm gonna generously cover it with olive oil. Like, I mean it generously, very generously cover it with olive oil. And then I'm gonna spread some raisins with chocolate chip and some crushed almonds. This will be my second filling. And then as soon as I'm done with this, I'm gonna start rolling it from bottom up very carefully, not to cause any holes. And if there are holes here and there, that's fine, because I mean it's a chocolate chip and it's the raisins and everything, but it should be one whole beautiful roll. And then this beautiful whole roll needs to be cut in half, so you need a very sharp knife. My knife was so sharp that I'm absolutely going to need a new silicone mat after making this, but that's absolutely okay. It was totally worth it. Now go ahead and cut this in the absolute middle. So turn the layers a little bit to be facing out. Now look at this. I want to show you from closer of how many layers are formed already. Alright, so now it's time to start rolling them. Start from one side. Again, the layers should be facing out because you want the scruffing effect, and then just continue rolling them until the very end, and at the end you're gonna end up with something looking like a rose. Do the same with the rest of the dough, and then move the cruffins into the muffin tray. Cover them with a saran wrap and a kitchen towel and let them rest for another 30 to 45 minutes or until they look like this, puffy and ready to be baked. Preheat your oven at 375 by Fahrenheit and bake those for 18 to 20 minutes or until they look golden brown. Do not overbake those cruffins because they're gonna end up very dry, and this is again not the effect that you're looking for. So as soon as the cruffins are out of the oven, make sure that you move them immediately to a cooling rack, because if you don't do that and you leave them in the muffin tray, they are gonna continue to cook and you're gonna end up with dry cruffins. And as you can see, the foil is very easily removable, so this was a very good idea, and now I'm excited to share the results with you. As you can see, those are very puffy by touch, and they are crispy on the outside and very puffy on the inside. Totally worth the time. Some of the cruffins I left plain just because I wanted to fill them up with some raspberry jam, and I do have a great recipe here on my channel for seedless raspberry jam that is low in sugar, and I will link to it in description and here in cards. So if you want to go ahead and check it out, go ahead and check it out. Now the next step is to fill up my cruffins with this most amazing raspberry jam that I definitely recommend you to try and to enjoy them. And here you can see how a cruffin with a chocolate chip and raisins looks like from the inside. And this brings me to the end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed this recipe, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more recipes if you haven't already. I promise you will love every single one of them. And I will talk to you very soon. For now, bye!